Shalom, this is your Ark. Yah is magnified, coming back with another informative video. I titled this video, Are You an Entity? But before I tackle this subject, as always, I must state for the record, I'm not a lawyer, I do not practice law, and I do not pretend to. All my videos are for informational and educational purposes only. They're all facts and all truth. Nothing more, nothing less. So with that being said, let's get to it. Okay, so I just want to do this quick video because I was creating some paperwork for my out in Ohio. You know, he came to me for assistance. So we're drafting up his documents to try to get him free from this system, okay? So, like I tell you all, you know, it's not an easy fight, but it's a fight worth fighting, especially when you win, okay? Not only does this apply to child support, but the information I'm giving you applies to anything, okay? Credit card bills, student loans, taxes, it's all the same game, okay? It's all dealing with commerce, all right? So when dealing with these people, you must stand in your what? Your proper status, okay? And your proper status are on, you know, you only have one proper status, okay? And that was the status that the Most High created in the beginning, okay? When he created what? Man in his image, what? And in his likeness, okay? And that man that he created in his image and his likeness, he formed what? One man. So after he created man in his image and his likeness, he created one man from that man that he created in his image and his likeness. Okay? So now, let's read this. We're coming from the codes.ohio.gov for all my brothers that's living in Ohio that's fighting against the Child Support Agency. But like I stated before, not only in this state, but in all states, they all have the same thing. Okay? You must understand that. You just have to find the statutes and codes in your state and apply them as well. Okay? So now, as you all can see, we're coming from what? Termination of support. Because that's the main thing you all want when dealing with what? Child support. You want to have it what? Terminated. You want to have the case dismissed. You want to get rid of it. Okay? So let's pick this up at A. It says this rule and its supplemental rules describe how the Child Support Enforcement Agency, CSEA, with administrative responsibility for a child support order, administratively terminates the current child support obligation and the medical support provisions when a required or optional administrative termination reason exists. Okay? So basically stating that they would tell you guys, this is basically telling you all how to terminate an administrative child support order when there's an optional order. I mean, when there's an optional reason to terminate it. Okay? Then it states the CSEA shall provide in accordance with this rule and its supplemental rules when a 4D application has described in paragraph A of rule with the rule number of the administrative code or a 4D referral as described in paragraph B of rule with the rule number of the administrative code has been completed and filed with the CSA. Okay, so basically this is giving you the reasons why a support order may be terminated. Okay, so after you read the definitions, like they give you definitions, then they give you the reasons that a support order may be terminated, right? But I want to go down so you all can take your time and read this. You know, if you're out in Ohio, or you can just simply go to the website to get understanding. If you're in any other state, then just simply find this termination of support in your state and read it as well so you all can get understanding. Okay, so as you write your documents up, you will quote this statute right here, and you will put beside it termination of support for your reasons of what? Terminating the support order. Okay, so let's go to E. I want to pick this up at E. E is the best reason that me and him would use to have his case terminated. It says E, pursuant to Division B of Section 3119.88 of the Revised Code, a court may also terminate an order for any other appropriate reasons brought to the attention of the court, unless otherwise prohibited by law. Okay, so not only, you know, they say they can terminate it administratively, but if they don't want to terminate it administratively, then you always have the option of what? Having the court terminate it for reasons that's not mentioned in this subsection, okay? So now, let's go to a case law so I can show you all one of the reasons why this case can be terminated. So let's go there. Okay, as you all can see, we're coming from a case from the Supreme Court of what? Ohio. Patterson, the appellant, versus V&M Auto Body, the what? Appellee. Again, as you all can see, it's coming from the Supreme Court of Ohio. Now, let's pick this up at the top. It states, right here where it says N, so you see what I'm picking up at. It says, in this case, we are asked to decide whether a lawsuit may be knowingly maintained against a defendant solely under the fictitious name in which the defendant does business. For the following reasons, we hold that it what? May not. Okay? Now let's continue. It states, it is well established that both plaintiff and defendant in a lawsuit must be legal entities with the capacity to be sued. So the plaintiff and defendant must be what? Legal entities. Okay? So what is a legal entity? We're going to go over that. So let's continue to stroll down. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. So now we found out by this case law alone that plaintiff and defendant must both be legal entities to be in the capacity of being sued, right? Now let's read the next top line where it says if, right here. It says if a defendant in a lawsuit is not an actual or legal entity, then a judgment rendered against that entity is void. Okay? So obviously it's a difference between entity and actual or legal entity. Okay? And the reason why I'm saying that is because, let's read it again. If a defendant in a lawsuit is not an actual or legal entity, then any judgment rendered against that entity is void. Okay? So if it's not an actual or legal entity, then any judgment entered against an entity that is not actually a legal entity, then that judgment is what? Void. Let's go there. Is void against that entity. Okay? So now, to further prove that, let's go to the Black Law Dictionary so we can find out what a entity is and what a legal entity is. So let's pick it up at the top where it says entity. Again, we're coming out of the 6th edition of the Black Law Dictionary. It states a real being, existence. That's one definition for entity, right? But now, that'll be the entity that they were saying different from a legal entity. But let's continue reading. It says, an organization or being that possesses separate existence for tax purposes. Then it states, examples would be corporations, partnerships, estates, and trust. The accounting entity for which accounting statements are prepared may not be the same as the entity defined by law. Then it states, entities includes corporations and foreign corporations, not-for-profit corporations, profit or not-for-profit unincorporated associations, business trust, estate, partnership, trust, and two or more persons having a joint or common economic interest, and state, United States, and foreign governments are what? All entities. Let's continue. An existence apart, such as a corporation in relations to its stockholders. Entity includes person, estate, trust, governmental unit. Not once did it say man or one man throughout this whole definition. Okay? So the only part that they can be referring to a man or one man at will be what? At the beginning where it says a real being, existence. That's it. That'll be the separate entity that they was talking about that's separate from a legal entity. So now let's go to legal entity. Okay, now as you all can see, we're coming again, Black Law Dictionary for what? Legal entity. It states legal existence. An entity other than a natural person who has sufficient existence in legal contemplation that it can function legally, be sued or sue and make decisions through agents, as in the case of what? Corporations. So remember that video I did titled, they can only sue in name and be sued in name. Why? Because the name itself is what? A legal entity. It's the legal person. It's the straw man, the ens legis, the transmit utility. That's what the name is. So once you go to court claiming to be that legal name, and they ask you for that legal name, and you say you are John Doe, The next thing you know, they got body attachment, which now means that you can sue or be sued. And that's exactly what they do in these courts. They sue you. Why? Because you admitted to being the legal name. So again, there's only two statuses a man and a woman have, and that's plain and simple, man and woman. So with that being said, you all be blessed. Like, share, and subscribe. If you all need my help, hit me up at my email at y'allismagnified@gmail.com. Like I tell you all, it's not an easy fight, but it's a fight worth fighting, especially when you get the results and really get some understanding of what's going on. That's the main thing. Once you get your understanding, then and only then will you see the truth. So with that being said, I say you all be blessed. Shalom.